Hi guys, how are you today? Welcome back to my channel Adventures in America. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jocelyn, and for today's topic I'm going to discuss the reopening plans in the Philippines and the no quarantine update for fully vaccinated passengers. Now let me focus on the no quarantine requirement proposal for fully vaccinated passengers. There are a lot of Filipinos and former Filipinos who are actually fully vaccinated outside of the Philippines. And I'm not sure what is the difference between a fully vaccinated passenger coming from a green lane country and a fully vaccinated passenger coming from a yellow list country. It's only in the Philippines where they distinguish those passengers. Now, based on the statement of Health Undersecretary in the Philippines, the IATF is looking at the pros and cons of removing the facility-based quarantine for fully vaccinated passengers. Second, they are still looking at the experience of other countries who have fully reopened. There is a proposal from the Philippine Airlines, and this is regarding the quarantine protocols for those fully vaccinated. It is proposed that there will be no quarantine for fully vaccinated passengers coming from North America. Now, who will be allowed no quarantine? There are only limited passengers who can avail of the no quarantine protocols. First, North American vaccinated passengers arriving in the Philippines. And the second classification of passengers are Filipinos fully vaccinated in the Philippines who traveled to North America and are returning to the country or returning to the Philippines. Now, these are the only passengers who can avail of the no quarantine procedures. Now, there are actually two solutions being offered. So, one solution is the front loading of the testing process before passengers arrive in the Philippines, and another is the expansion of international gateways to offload passengers from NAIA. Now, there's a data from Philippine Airlines regarding the positivity rates, and based on their data or study, positivity rates among inbound passengers from North America have been relatively low. In addition, 90% of their North America passengers are fully vaccinated. Now, here in the US, there is a new travel system effective November 8th, and all passengers must be fully vaccinated and must have a negative COVID test 72 hours within 3 days of flying. So I think the Philippines is trying to adopt the front-loaded testing for all arriving passengers, meaning to say you must have a 72 hours negative test prior to arrival or prior to departure from your country of origin. And this is being implemented already for those coming from green lane countries for all foreign nationals. Now, there is a proposal from Joey Concepcion that the front loading should be 48 hours of negative test before flying to the Philippines, and then there will also be another test upon arrival in the Philippines. This is now the current proposal. Philippine Airlines also made a proposal to not impose a quarantine or facility-based quarantine for fully vaccinated passengers from North America. And during the time of the proposal, there was an intended pilot testing for passengers from North America, and this is only for Filipinos and those who are fully vaccinated in the Philippines going to North America and going back to the Philippines, meaning to say only Filipinos will be allowed a no quarantine facility if they are fully vaccinated. Now, the Interagency Task Force just implemented a new protocol for those coming from green lane countries, and they expanded the list of countries, and those coming from this list of countries in the last 14 days will no longer have a facility-based quarantine as long as you have a 72-hour test or negative test prior to departure from your country of origin. Now, Joey Concepcion suggested or made a recommendation to finally or fully lift the quarantine requirements for fully vaccinated passengers, and this applies to all passengers eligible to travel in the Philippines. So it doesn't matter if you're coming from North America or other parts of the globe. As long as you're fully vaccinated, you shouldn't have any facility-based quarantine. So that means you will no longer have to pre-book a hotel for purposes of traveling to the Philippines. He also proposed that the test be done within Metro Manila or at the passenger's home. The test would be done either at their homes if they live within Metro Manila or at the quarantine hotel if they don't have a place to stay. The proposed system will necessitate confirmed test schedules from the passengers. So here is the proposal: 48 hours of negative test prior to departure from the country of origin, and then be tested again upon arrival in the Philippines within Metro Manila or other ports of entry or at home. Concepcion said that he's now working with Philippine Airlines to align with laboratories who will do the testing. Citing data from Philippine Airlines, Concepcion said the positivity rates among inbound passengers from North America had been relatively low. Now, there is another proposal for what we call green flights. So what are these green flights? Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion, proposed the launch of so-called green flights, which will carry only fully vaccinated travelers, as a solution to ease the stringent quarantine requirement for international passengers traveling or arriving to the Philippines. This could relax the quarantine restrictions further to as low as 24 hours or overnight. Now, to give you an update regarding the reopening plans in the Philippines, there is another press release from the Bureau of Immigration, and this is not good news. The press release was issued on November 16, 2021, and let me show you the details of this press release. Now, the Bureau of Immigration clarified today, November 16, that the Philippines is still closed to foreign tourists. The country remains closed to foreign tourists, only those under the allowed categories as set by the IATF or Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, if coming from green or yellow countries, may be admitted to enter, Immigration Commissioner Jaime Morente said in a statement. Morente stressed that while there are encouraging signs that the country might soon reopen its borders, the Bureau of Immigration will continue to restrict the entry of foreign tourists until the government decides to the lifting of the travel ban on them. So presently, only Filipinos, former Filipinos, and foreign nationals with valid and existing visas can enter the Philippines. He also said that those who wish to travel to the Philippines under a tourist visa may only do so if they apply for a 9A temporary visitor's visas and an entry exemption document from Philippine posts abroad. Morente said that while the Bureau of Immigration is ready and prepared for the eventual reopening of the country to foreign tourists, the decision to reopen will come from the President and the IATF. Now, he advised the public to refer to the current Bureau of Immigration advisories and social media pages for the most current travel restrictions in the Philippines. The palace earlier said that the Philippines will open for international tourism in due time. Now, I'm not sure why the Philippines has to mirror other countries when it comes to reopening. If it has to follow science, and if they wanted passengers to be fully vaccinated, why can't they open to fully vaccinated passengers regardless of the country of origin? Now, let me know your thoughts regarding the current travel restrictions being imposed on eligible arriving passengers in the Philippines. Thank you guys for supporting my channel, and if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I always welcome new subscribers. Now, if you recently traveled in the Philippines, please share your travel experience and please post in the comment section below regarding your entry in the Philippines. Now, if you have any other questions or comments, please post them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys for supporting my channel. I hope everyone is staying safe and have a great day.